Okay. Well, nobody's here yet, but I did have some stuff to talk about for the replay crew. For whoever is watching this later. And I was thinking about how the way that we relate to emotional eating is very much that it's like this compulsive behavior that like we just can't help. But what I've sort of been reframing it as is that it's coming from shame, like most coping mechanisms are, but that it's to solve a problem, right? And there's two problems as I see it in my philosophy. The first problem is a lack of compassion, and the second problem is a lack of safety. So I just find that really interesting that once I was able to give myself that compassion and give my nervous system that safety, that's when I was like, oh, I don't have food noise. This isn't calling out to me anymore. And so it's the lack of compassion and the lack of safety that creates the need to eat emotionally. How old am I? 41. Jason. Hello, Rafa. Welcome in. Hi, Sam. Hi, Joyce. Welcome in. So the this is a channel for supporting people who struggle with eating emotionally. If you're just joining us, and I help people to stop having food as a coping mechanism or a compulsive behavior. So if that's you, then you're welcome to stick around. And if that is not you, then now you know what it's about, so you can decide. Nai says, "Hola, hello, welcome in. Hi, Steve." Yeah, so you're welcome to put any questions in the chat if you have questions about compulsive behavior, eating emotionally. Like if you're just like, oh, I really want to lose weight, and then I go on a diet, and then I can only stick to it for so long, and then I end up like elbow deep in stale Oreos, and you're like, how does this keep happening? Then yeah, that would be why. So yeah, we're looking to support people who are struggling with emotional eating. Yeah, so what I was just saying to myself before everybody got here is that for me it feels like it's coming from a lack of safety and a lack of compassion. Once we can give ourselves compassion and once we can give ourselves safety, then it just for me and for my clients, like it just doesn't seem to have the pull anymore. And I realize that it's like it's because eating emotionally compulsively, like it's just your attempt to regulate yourself, right? You're just feeling a certain way that doesn't feel good, and you're like, what would make me feel better is food, right? Or alcohol, or whatever your thing is. And so when we meet those needs for compassion and safety, then we address the shame, right, that's underlying it, because this stuff tends to all come from shame. Then you're just like, oh, I just don't really need that anymore, and it's awesome. And I did it myself, and I feel amazing uh, that I can live where I get to decide what I eat, and I get to decide how I want to feel. And I don't know that everybody knows that that's a choice that you have to make. I feel like people are like, oh, I feel this way because this thing happened. And it's like, you get to decide like how you want to feel. And if you want to feel good, like you get to decide that you feel good, and then you get to create an environment that's going to make you feel good. And that's going to be fun, and that's going to be the thing where you're like, "Ooh, I get to do this today." Like yesterday I was roller skating and I did 2.5 hours, and then I did another 2.5 hours, and it was so fun. There was like a roller disco night. I put that video up of me at the roller disco night that had like very grade 8 dance in the gym vibes, which was super fun. And I put up videos, I've shown you guys like the roller skating thing is like, if you had told me a year ago that I was going to be voluntarily exercising on a Saturday night, I would have been like, you're crazy. Like, you're nuts. That's crazy. Like, I would never want to be doing exercise on Saturday night. But it just doesn't feel like exercise. Like, it just feels like fun. It just feels like of course I want to be there. Of course I want to line up for that. Hi Moaz. So my day was amazing because I got to wake up today being like, I had so much fun last night. And then I was like, oh, why am I so hungry today? And I'm like, oh yeah, because I roller skated for 5 hours yesterday and didn't consider any of it work. And I would have gone longer if I had paced myself a little bit better. Gymnast queen, I like your style. Thank you so much. I used to be a gymnastics coach for 10 years, so love the gymnastics over here. Yeah, 5 hours is a long time. I know. You can check out my video. Anthony saw my video. Right? It's happy. Anthony said, I saw the video. You were so happy and you're really so good at it. Thank you. Um, and so it's just like it's fun. It's so fun. And that's why I put up the video of me, hi gymnast queen, of me doing it, because I'm like, I don't think everybody knows how fun this is. Like, not that you can really show that in a video, but as much as I could, I was like, let me tell you these are your options, because I didn't know that that was an option of a thing that you could do. I thought that your options for Saturday night had to like involve alcohol. That was my like understanding of socializing. And you can't drink when you're roller skating. I mean, I guess maybe technically you could, but that would be a disaster. Like it's just not a thing. Gymnast Queen says I'm scared of rollerblades. Okay. Rollerblading is harder. You know that, right? Roller skating is quad wheels, so you have way more support and you're more stable. Um, but yeah, I understand the fear. I only started like last year, so I understand like oh, wobbly. Yeah, in gymnastics, everything is on your bare feet, and at least you're flying through the air. You're not struggling to just stand up. So, yeah, so living from that joy is because I feel safe now, because I Oh, Anthony says, I also loved your outfit. The theme was aliens, and I was like, I don't have anything that's aliens. Like, how am I gonna dress for that? So I just grabbed like a shiny fabric dress, and then I ended up blending right in. So thank you, Anthony. I'm glad you like my outfit. Gymnast Queen says, I've been doing it for 4 years. Do you mean gymnastics or rollerblading? Gymnast Queen. Um, yeah, um so yeah, and like, why you can wear whatever you want. You can go do like, there are no rules. Like, I used to live in a very oh, gymnastics for 4 years. Okay, gotcha. Anthony says, I didn't think to know that there were disco aliens out there. Oh, there were quite a few out last night. Disco aliens for sure. Yeah, I don't know where they come up with these themes, but it ended up being disco aliens meets grade 8 dance party in the gym. So it was very like very fun, very like old school, brought me back to the 90s. It was super cool. And that's something that I never would have done before. And I realize now like how much I was holding myself back, not because I didn't want to go have a life and be a person and develop myself and have hobbies and meet people and have a community. Like, it's not that I didn't want that. I just could never feel safe enough to do it. And the more unsafe I felt, the harder I was on myself of like, what's wrong with you? And then the more I drank, and then the more I ate, and then the more it was shame, and then the worse I felt. So like it just is this cycle that like is terrible. And I really feel for anybody who's in it. Now, but the fun side of it when you're out is like you could do anything. Like what are you guys doing that you didn't ever imagine you would be doing? Like if somebody went back in time, like Gymnast Queen, if somebody went back in time and told you, 5 years ago, like you're gonna be doing like, I don't know, what do you got, Gymnast Queen? Like round off back handspring, back tuck. Like I don't know where you are in your like gymnast journey, but it's like all these things that we didn't even, not only we didn't think we can do, we just didn't even think it was an option to learn it, right? So like yeah, 4 years for, if you're an adult gymnast queen, then 4 years is like amazing. But if you're younger, then like you probably have learned like a lot more in 4 years. April Flower says, how are you? I am fabulous, April. How are you? Just fabulous. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to offer support, and just happy to. Oh, April says she's good. Okay, awesome. My birthday's in April, so I like your username. I like flowers and I like April, so that's a great username. Yeah, so part of that comes down to, so I was like, okay, well, which one comes first? If it's a lack of safety and a lack of compassion, then like, how do we address that? And I compassion has to come first, and so that makes it easier. Gymnast Queen says back walkovers and front handsprings. Okay, back walkovers can be scary, like falling backwards like that, and front handsprings. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so good. Do I know how to do an aerial? I know how to teach an aerial because I used to be a provincial gymnastics coach. I have never been able to do an aerial. They are tricky. They are tough. Yeah. But it's like the coolest skill. Like if you can get that, oh, break that out at parties. Oh my God, that's like people are like, "How did you do that?" It's like probably more impressive to people than like a standing back tuck. Yeah, so I've never been able. I can do what I've been able to do one like on a trampoline, but I've never been strong enough to do one, or I've never been strong enough at the time. I'm in Canada, gymnast queen. You can only do a handstand. Okay, that's okay. I love handstands. I love that feeling. Just get up there, hold it. It's so awesome. Handstands are amazing. Like if you can do a handstand, you're ahead of like 99% of the world. Like most people will never be able to do a handstand. So don't get into that gymnast cycle of like, oh, well, I can only do this, and then other people can do like, you know, tumbling lines, and that means that I'm not good because they're better. It's like that's not what it means. Don't worry. Like it means you're doing amazing. You are the best you've ever been at gymnastics, April Flowers. You're the best you've ever been at it now. Ah, you're in Canada too? Where are you in Canada? April says, my friend goes in cheer, and sometimes when I go to school, oh, they throw you up, and it's really fun. They throw you up like the lifts that they do in cheer. Oh my God, that looks so cool. For me, cheer seems much more terrifying than gymnastics. Yeah, I'm on the east coast of Canada, April. like to be thrown up by other people for some reason feels so much scarier than to tumble and do my own to be, moving through the air under my own power. Oh, Fort McMurray. Okay, you're in Alberta. Gotcha. And Anthony's Canadian too. I remember that. You're in Ontario, so we're just a bunch of Canadians on here. Love it. Love Canada. Very happy to live here. Very happy to be born here. Really luck of the draw. Hi, Gray. Yeah, so gymnast queen, don't sit there being like, "Oh, I can only do a handstand." Like if you can do a handstand, that is incredible. Like you should be so proud of that, especially if you can kick up and like hold it without needing a wall and you can just kind of like balance and do that thing where you're like on your kind of you're balancing back on the weight. Like that's incredible. Like just, enjoy it. And you're gonna keep learning. Like if you're only 4 years in, you're gonna learn. Oh, Gray's in Manitoba. Okay. So wow. So we're like Manitoba. I don't think I've ever met anyone from Manitoba. I know people who live in Manitoba, but I've never met anyone from there. Maybe Manitobans really love it and then they just never leave and then other people don't get to meet them. Gray, we are from I think everybody. Oh, April, you're Gray, we are yeah, are you winning if you're in Manitoba? Yeah, look at all the Canadians. Ricky's in Nova Scotia. Yeah, yeah. So we've got Nova Scotia, Alberta, Ontario. I think that's and Manitoba. Yeah, so we got 4 provinces represented here. Lucas says he's watching from Rome. Okay. Buongiorno. Or, is that Italian? Yeah, I do not live in Alberta, Gymnast Queen. I live in, I'm from Ontario. I'm from Toronto, but I don't live there anymore. I taught gymnastics for 10 years, April. Buona notte. Did I say that right, Luca? Is that how you say hello? Buona notte. I'm just I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. Yeah, so be gentle on yourself, April. Like you're doing amazing. That's a big deal. It's a very big deal that you can do a handstand. And now to this day, I'm 41, and now when I do a handstand and I just kick up and hold it and hold it and hold it, people get very excited. Like people are like, "Oh my God, how are you doing that? How are you not falling? How are you not taking a step?" So like that's it's such a fun feeling. Yeah, so this is what the world needs. We need more compassion. We need to be gentler on ourselves. We need to stop comparing to other people. We need to step into a place of being like, I am doing awesome and I'm really proud of myself. And look at how far I've come, not look at how far I still have to go. Gymnast Queen thought I was 20 years old. I was 20 years old 20 years ago, so I will take that. Thank you. Okay, have a good night, April. Yeah, so so that gentleness, right? Coming back to that gentleness, that compassion, that acceptance. Like, can you just look around your life and accept where you are and stop being mad about it? Am I still in Canada? Well, I haven't moved since I've been on this live, but yeah, I've been in Canada the whole time. Yeah. Hi, Alan. Pleasure to meet you too. Bye, Ricky. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast, Gray. Yeah. So I'm in Nova Scotia. And I left Toronto because it was so oh, that's okay, Gray, don't worry. Because it was so busy and I was just working all the time and I was 29 and I was like, if I stay here when I turn 30, I'm never leaving. And then I'm just going to be one of those people who like never stopped working. So I left Toronto when I was 29 and moved to Nova Scotia. It is so beautiful. I live in a postcard. Like, it's just, that's how I feel living here. I live in a postcard. It's, I'm grateful. Like, 5 times a day, I'll just be like, this province is so pretty. Like, how is it so pretty? It just blows me away. So, yeah, Gray says I couldn't handle any busy places like Toronto. Yeah. I mean, I did for 6 or 7 years, living there as a grown up and being from there and stuff. But it's just a lot. Just the culture is like it's a hard work long hours, work a lot, party hard culture, and it was just a bit exhausting. So I always describe Nova Scotia as the province where time stands still, because people just work regular hours and then they have all this time in their day. Yeah, Gray, like ants running around 24/7. That was me, for sure. That was me. So, yeah, and I wasn't giving myself compassion then either. I was just like, push harder, do more. You need to make more money. You need to pay off student loans. You need to figure this out. You need to, you need to get somewhere. You need to push yourself. And so that ended up just, and again in Toronto, like again you have that game of comparison. You're just constantly looking around and saying, oh well, other people are doing this and other people have more and other people did all the, bought a house, or which is a big deal in Toronto. Gray says, yeah, it's very hard to keep up on that hamster wheel. Yeah, exactly. And there are people who spend their whole lives on it, or there are people who don't get out until they're like 50 and they don't have as much of themselves left. But it just didn't occur to me until my late 20s that I had a choice. Like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I did not know. This does sound ridiculous. I didn't know that you could just move to where people go on vacation. Like, I always thought of Nova Scotia as like where you go on vacation in the summer. It never occurred to me in a million years that you could just live there. Like, I just thought Ontario was where people live, and then that everywhere else is where people go on vacation. Because I was just born and raised in the GTA, and you get, it's a very like insular part of the world. Alan says, come to the UK. I love the UK. I really do. I was trained as a historian, and the UK is like, oh my God, every time you turn around, it's another Roman ruin. It's another castle. It's another thing that's been there for 1,000 years. Like, it's amazing. Gray says, I'm literally just discovering this now. Yeah, discovering that you can move to where people go on vacation, Gray, is that what you mean? Yeah, so it's just like I finally stopped when I was 29. I just asked myself, like, what do I want? Not what do people expect me to do, or what do I feel like I'm supposed to do, or what is everyone else doing, but just like, what do I want? And it shocked me that it took me until I was that old to be like, you get a choice, right? And how you want to live your life and where you want to live. Okay, Grace says, I'm discovering there are more options than what we're feeling stuck in. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so there's just like there's a whole world of possibilities, and when we're stuck in something, the world just feels like more narrow, and we feel like we have like less and less options. We feel like we've painted ourselves into a corner, and we just, oh, I've come this far, I got to stick it out. Or for me, like, I was like, I went to school and I trained in this career and I got all these master's degrees, and now I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to walk away. Like, like you just feel like you have to keep going because you've already come so far. And it turns out that you don't. It turns out you're grown up and you can do whatever you want to do. Grace says, breaking through the fear and taking steps out into the dark is tough, eh? It is. Great. Oh my God. It was so scary. It was so scary. Dark night of the soul and all that. Anthony says, I'd like to volunteer as a moderator if you're looking, ooh, I've never had a moderator, never had trolls either, so this is all brand new to me. Sure. I don't know how to make you a moderator, Anthony, but I would love your help if you want to. Oh my God, do you know what you would be for me, Anthony? You would be like the bouncer. And like we're all in here like having a safe conversation and you're like the bouncer being like, "Mm-mm, you're too drunk. You can't come in." That's how I would think of a moderator, Anthony. Gray says I get you. Awesome. A bodyguard. Sure, that's even better. Yeah, you can be a bodyguard. Love it. Okay. Well, maybe we should chat after, Anthony, because I don't know if I know how to make you a moderator in this exact moment, but I will. But I deeply appreciate it. That's very generous of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so what are ways that you guys are breaking out of things, or where are you stuck? You know, like being stuck in the dark place when you think you're the only one that you're stuck in is also very scary because you feel like you're alone. Alan says, "What kind of work would you love?" The kind of work that I do, Alan. I made a career doing the things that I love to do, which is help people. Yeah, I think I would, Anthony, have to activate you on my end. I just don't know exactly what button that is. Ooh, add as moderator. Maybe that. Add as moderator. Okay, I'm gonna make you a managing moderator. Oh no, I'm gonna make you a standard moderator. Okay, standard moderator. Oh wait. Oops, I accidentally did it to Gray instead of you. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Gray. See, this is why I was afraid to push buttons. How do I undo that now? Not that button. That button? Nope. Oh no. Well, now. Okay, wait, let me try. Gray, I don't know if you're winning. You just got signed up for a job you didn't want. Hang on, Anthony. I'm going to click on you. Click, click, add as moderator. There. Anthony is added. Okay, now we have to unadd Gray. So Gray says, where are you stuck? Work, relationships, you name it. Is that where you're stuck or is that where you're breaking out of, Gray? Gray, if you want to moderate, you can. I really accidentally hit the wrong button, so that's very lovely of you. Okay, Gray, you let me know if you want me to take you off. How about that? I feel bad. You just wandered in. Wandered in today. There you go, Anthony. You're all set up. Okay, so you're feeling stuck. Okay, so let's go back. Feeling stuck in work and relationships. Okay, so I'm very good at helping people to get unstuck. If you just tell me like why you're feeling stuck. Bye, Alan. Thanks for stopping in. Or like what the deal is, because with feeling stuck, it's like we feel like we don't have a choice and we have to keep going the way that we're going. And yeah, oh, I'm ready, Gray. You go. Like I'm ready. I got you. Getting people unstuck is my whole. It's like 30% of my personality at this point. Because I spent decades being stuck, like so stuck. Oh my God, stuck relationship, work, stuck in my body, stuck in my compulsive eating and drinking, stuck in my fear, stuck in my shame, stuck in my low self-esteem. Like, oh my God, it was just I basically got unstuck like a year ago and I was 40 and I was just like I have to tell everyone that there's a way out. There's a way to get unstuck. So that's what I do is helping women with emotional eating, but that's like not everything I can do. That's just the thing that I've sort of found myself in. And also, Anthony, how are you doing? How was your week? Because you've come to like I think you've come to have you come to every single one of these that I've done so far? It's been like a month. Did you have a good week, Anthony? Radu says hi. Hello, Radu. Hi. Gray says, I'm a red seal carpenter, been doing it for 2 years, 20 years, 2 years. I was just diagnosed ADHD, and when I was being assessed, they also told me I have ASD. One, now I've always felt I've needed more. Um, okay, so you need deep intellectual stimulation, carpentry and cutting it. I mean, you might, yeah, like you might just be, it's like the kid in class. I used to be a high school teacher, and the kid in class who's the most disruptive tends to be one of the smartest kids. They're bored, right? They're not able to focus because they're like so far ahead. So yeah, I've seen that a million times, Gray. And carpentry is like a beautiful thing to do, but if it's not giving you what you need, then yeah, although you've worked so hard to be a red seal carpenter. Is that what happened? Like you're a red seal carpenter and you're like, well, I got my certification and I came all this way and now I can't just stop and go and do something intellectually stimulating. Anthony says, busy week. I'm in healthcare. Oh, you're in healthcare. Okay. What kind of healthcare? Hopefully not too stressful, Anthony. I know some people who are nurses and they work crazy hours. Oh, you were always quiet in school. Okay. Um, mais je parle français, Redu, alors ça va. If Redu says that he doesn't speak English, that's not a problem. Les Canadiens, on est bilingue. Yeah, so you could have been quiet in class, Gray, and daydreaming, right? Yeah, exactly, like what you just said. Oh, and Gray, tu parles français aussi. Alors voilà, il y en a beaucoup. Français, oui. And Anthony, see, les Canadiens, on est bilingue. En général, il y a plusieurs Canadiens qui sont assez doués avec les langues. That's awesome. Look at us go. See? So, yeah, we're a bilingual group. I love it. Great. You have a French and English diploma? You mean high school diploma? That's awesome. Okay, so you might need more. Okay, so great. How do we get you unstuck? So, first thing, oh, really, Anthony? Speak Italian? Oh my God, that's awesome. So okay, so you have French. I mean, if you have French, you have a lot of options for jobs. You know that in Canada. But here's where I always start people. Let's just pretend for a second. Just close your eyes and pretend for a second that it's 30 years from now and you stayed exactly the same. You stayed red seal carpenting the whole time. And it's the last day of your life in 30 years from now, and you know it's the last day of your life. And you're looking back at your life and all the time that you spent being a carpenter, feeling stuck. And you're going to ask yourself one question in this scenario. What do I wish I had done more of? Grace says, "Oh dang, yeah." Well, getting stuck requires getting unstuck requires some deep thinking, right? So what are you going to look back on your life if nothing changes? If you just keep going exactly the way you're going, you're with the same person, you're in the same relationship, you're you know, you're still in the same job. What are you going to say I wish I had done more of? You're going to say adventures. Okay. That's amazing. That's beautiful. So then the next step is, okay, so what is it about it? First of all, what kind of adventures? You don't have to tell all of us these details. Um, but what kind of adventure? Like, are we talking travel? What kind of travel? Are we talking about learning new things, seeking answers? Okay, seeking answers. Yeah. So yeah, because you may have one of those minds that's like, I have to keep learning. I want to know. I want to know more. And so, okay, figuring out ancient civilizations. Oh, great. That's my jam. I'm a historian. I love it all. Okay. So, Figuring out ancient civilizations. That's incredible. So you got there in like 2 minutes, bud. Like so you know. Because the biggest thing of getting unstuck is I don't know what else I would do, right? Yeah, you listen to audiobooks all day, probably because you're bored, right? You're trying to keep your mind occupied while you're doing your physical job. Yeah. A daunting task, Anthony says, to figure out ancient civilizations. Well, he's not going to do it by himself. It's a team effort. Yeah, so if you know that that's what you want to do, then perfect. Okay. So now we just have to figure out how to get you there because most people get stuck and stay stuck because they don't know what they really want and they don't know what else they would do. But if you know that it's ancient civilizations, Grace says I go through one audiobook every day or two. Okay, so you're quick, right? So you're a fast learner. Anthony says, or Grace says, Anthony, hold my beer. I have ASD. That's amazing. Yeah, so you could just keep going. You could just keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. Okay. So so great. Then we're like, okay, well, what kind of ancient civilization decoding are you into? Are we talking linguistics? Are we talking history? Are we talking archaeology? Gray says, think Elon Musk only stuck in the muck. Oh my God. Gray, we have to get you out. Anthony says, I have a cool Corona for you. There you go. So we have to get you out, Gray. So this is the part where you have to like sit there and think. Okay, so this is the second part, Gray. You already did the first part. You're amazing. So the second part is that you're going to close your eyes for a sec and you're going to picture yourself in 10 years from now. Except the difference is that this is going to be the most incredible 10 years of your entire life. Of any life you could possibly imagine. This has been the most incredible 10 years that any human has ever lived. And then you're going to answer this question once you like put yourself in that headspace, Gray. And the question is, what made it so amazing? What made these 10 years? What were the ingredients that went into making these 10 years the most spectacular 10 years I could possibly ever imagine? So we need to know the ingredients for you specifically. And I have a feeling you're going to say that I keep learning. But yeah, you said ancient Egypt. Okay, so we're getting closer. We started off with not carpentry, moved into adventures, moved into learning, into seeking answers, and then seeking answers to what? To ancient civilizations, to solving puzzles, and now we're in ancient Egypt, so we're getting closer. Ooh, Anthony says, I studied ancient Egypt for a full year. Very fascinating. What are the odds, guys? That's amazing. Lifelong learning. Okay, so Gray, you're going to look back on those 10 years and say the thing that made them so amazing was lifelong learning, right? Well, if you get into any kind of research, I mean, you are Gray says, keep that beer cold. You guys are funny. So Anthony knows exactly what you're talking about because he studied ancient Egypt. Was that in university, Anthony? Oh, Gray's dad was a professor emeritus of ancient Egypt or ancient civilizations, Gray? Anthony says you need to visit the pyramids. Yeah, see? So we're going to get this Carpenter from Nova Scotia to become, an Egyptologist and get out there and create this dream life of lifelong learning. Oh, your dad was a prof of plant biology. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, that's not at all related. So, Gray, do you have any kind of Egyptology work that you find particularly fascinating? Then you get into like major linguistic stuff with like hieroglyphs and like all of the religious elements, all of the archaeology. I mean, Egyptology. I mean, Anthony, you can speak to this. If you, I haven't studied ancient Egypt for a full year. Okay, so Gray, you have no idea what type of Egyptology you're. Okay, perfect. So this is the exciting part, Gray. Now you have somewhere to start looking for like, okay, so now I know it's Egypt, ancient Egypt. Now I know that it's lifelong learning. So this is where you start sniffing around, right? You start looking for what is it, and this is the question you're always going to want to answer, Gray. As you're looking, as you're moving towards this, the question is always, what is the thing that makes me feel most alive? What is the thing that gets me the most excited? That makes me like, you know, when you get so excited and you just can't stop talking about your favorite thing and everyone else is like, uh-huh, we get it. And you're like, no, 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 you don't even understand how awesome this is. Like, let me explain it to you in excruciating detail so you can appreciate it like I do. And then everyone around you is like, yeah, we get it. So that thing that you're like so excited about, like that's what we're going for. We're looking for that. And you can start looking for it in ancient Egypt. Yeah, throw some ideas around. I mean, Anthony studied it for a full year. I never took any ancient Egypt courses in. I have a BA in history and a master's degree in history. But I didn't even take ancient Egypt in university because I don't think they offer. I think we just had too many other requirements. We had to do Canadian history. Gray says, I get like that about old flood theories. Oh, like you get where you can't stop talking about it and everyone else is like, we're done already. Anthony says, fascinating fact, many deaths occur around King Tut exhibits. So don't visit those exhibits. What? Anthony, is that true? Why? Why would why would there be deaths around or King Tut exhibits in really dangerous places or something? Yeah, so if you are like that with flood theories, Gray, then start going. There's a historian who wrote a book on walls. And it's a really good book. It's called Walls. And it explains all about how walls change civilization, about how we went from hunter-gatherers and tribal herding societies to agriculturalists that then had to put up borders and keep people out, and the split in the world between like the settled people who have walls and live in villages or towns, and then everybody else who lives in like a pastoral sort of landscape. And that's just about walls, great. And it's a really good book. And I was reading it and I was like, this is the coolest take on walls I've ever heard. And it's fascinating because it's like, okay, well, now you have us versus them. Like, who's on this side of the wall and who's on that side of the wall? So, Gray, if you love flood theories, like, there is a whole world of people who want you to write that book or want you to, you know, get out there. Like it's cool. Okay, Anthony's gonna explain this King Tut thing. Okay, so your theory, Anthony, is King Tut's spirit wanted to stay in Egypt. So why would that mean he's... Oh, do you mean King Tut exhibits outside of Egypt? That there's a lot of deaths around King Tut exhibits? Okay. Any books about floods that I know about? I mean, not off the top of my head, but give me a second. Like, you know, which flood theory are you talking about, Gray? Oh, okay. Anthony's saying outside of Egypt when they're okay. So when like the British Museum has a King Tut thing, then like more people die. Oh, you know, I wouldn't risk it. You know, you can look it up online. I wouldn't want to incur the wrath of Yeah, exactly. Outside of it makes sense. Okay, the story of Noah's Ark. Okay, so flood theory in archaeology is fascinating because there is like this whole thing about there was like this global flood. You can see it on the deposits, on the layers, everywhere in the world. Yeah, the curse of King Tut. Yeah. See, there's just all kinds of stuff. Now, I don't know about, putting energy into curse stuff because that's very negative, but yeah, the whole the Noah's Ark thing, every I didn't know this that every culture has a flood story. Like every culture has a story of what happened with a big flood. So there's so much there's so much there, Gray. For sure. And what about the erosion on the Sphinx? They found, yes, I heard they found the Ark. Anthony says they found the actual Ark a few years ago in Turkey. Yeah, so like so then maybe it's not Egyptology, maybe it's floods, man. Like, and if it's, well, it's a theory, yeah. Yeah, they haven't, nothing's like, oh, we found the record of ownership and it says Noah on it. Like, yeah, it's all still, they're still piecing it together. But you know what, guys? They found Troy, the city of Troy, for realsies. So, like, if you can find Troy that everybody thought was mythological, then you can find a lot more than you think. Yeah, so great. Then it's like, okay, so move into that. Like go towards the joy. Go towards the thing that makes you excited, that makes you happy, that makes you be like, "Oh my God, I don't even want to go to bed. I just want to keep learning this. I want to keep doing this." Right? We want to move towards the joy instead of moving away from the thing that we don't like. So don't think of it as oh, we're going to leave carpentry. Okay? Maybe that's too overwhelming. Gray, maybe leaving Red Seal Carpentry is too overwhelming. Don't think about that. Just think about going towards floods, right? Towards the thing that lights you up. And just let it be like a little little light in front of you. You're like, "Oh." And you just keep following it. And you just don't think about you don't focus on what you're leaving behind because the future is so much better. Gray says this is making me shake, literally. Oh, I hope that's a good thing, Gray. And he says, my precious. Yeah, like just move towards the thing that lights you up. And that is the magic. That is how you change your life. That's how you get unstuck. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do. If you ever find yourself feeling that conflict and like, oh, I want this, but I can't, just put it all down and go towards the joy. Go towards the fun. Yeah, step into the dark, take a step, and like the ground will be there, right? And you're going to build that bridge as you need it. Every step you take, imagine your foot's up in the air and it's about to land, and just as it's about to land, the next piece of the bridge falls into place and you land on solid ground. So it's that boy Rio. I don't really know what that means. Yeah, so how do you feel about that, Gray? Does that feel like a little more possibility, a little more sparkle, that there's more chance for you to, you still have time. You can still build the life you want. You can still have the rewarding career. Yeah, it does sound scary, Gray. It does, right? Anytime we move towards change, it's going to feel scary. And so that's where nervous system regulation comes in. That's where we need to learn how to create safety. And I started out talking about we need compassion first. And then once we have compassion, then we need safety. And the compassion creates space for us to accept where we are and to make room for where we might want to go. And then the nervous system stuff makes us feel safe as we're moving towards it. Gray says my brain needs that and I think I could do lots. So do I. So do I, Gray. If you're going through an audiobook every day or two, you're in the wrong field, man. Like I know academics who do not go through, who do not read that much. Like your brain is wasted on carpentry. Like the world needs you to go and do the thing, you know. Anthony said, oh yeah, Mount Ararat. Yeah, that was a while ago. Wasn't that in the 90s they found that? And then Gray says, I'm spending too much money. Yeah, so Gray, that also can be an attempt to regulate your nervous system. Spending is like eating, right? It's one of the ways that we try to calm down. So if you're finding that you're spending too much money or you're spending money you don't want to spend and you're like, don't spend another dime, and then you're like putting your credit card down, then that's like a sign that you don't feel safe. And you can create that nervous system regulation. You can learn how to calm yourself down. Oh, Grace says it's money on audiobooks. You have to pay for that. Can't you get them from the library? Why would you pay for that? Unless it's like brand new or something. The flat section on top of the mountain. Oh, of Mount Ararat. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like there's so much more. And here's the fun part about, because Anthony's saying, they found the ark and da da da. But the thing is, every time they find something, it raises more questions than it answered. So there's so much more. Like it's like a whole other field of history and archaeology opens up every time they find something. And yeah, exactly. Anthony, it landed up there as the waters receded. Yeah. So okay, Grace says a lot of the good books are pay only. Okay, well, then you may as well pay tuition, bud. If you're dropping that kind of money, you may as well pay tuition and turn it into a career, right? You may as well go and spend your money on learning things that get you further, right? Than just passing the time in carpentry. Yeah, Anthony. Yeah. So yeah, okay, landed up there. Yeah, that's fine. But then what? Right? Like then it has all these implications, but then it has all these complexities. Like in Egyptology, they have done this so many times where they've come out and said there is so much in every tomb and every thing, all the material. If you like add up the material, they're like it'll take us like 100,000 years to figure all this out based on the number of Egyptologists that we have. Like there's just not enough people trying to figure it out and not enough people to process it and to move through it. So like history just keeps being rewritten and re-understood. Like the past is what happened, but history is what we know about it. And what we know about it keeps changing. So things are not static. History is an evolving, living, breathing thing. Yeah, so I hope that helps, Gray. I hope that you feel like you can start to get unstuck and follow the joy. And this is to anybody listening on the replay, that wherever you're stuck in your life, like you can go through that same process. Ask yourself that question and start with the deathbed question, move into the 10 years from now question, and just being like, what am I so excited about right now that I like can't calm down? Gray says you're great. I appreciate you. Thank you, Gray. Thank you for popping in today. What a fun little adventure that was. See, Gray, you said you wanted more adventures. There you go. You just we all just had an adventure because you happened to bump in here and share with us, right? Oh, did you subscribe? Thank you, Gray. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Yeah, subscribe. I drop all kinds of stuff. And it's just a reminder that like you're only ever like two moves away from a completely different life. And a completely different life starts with compassion. And then once you have that answer, right? Like Gray just has that answer now of like, okay, well now what I know what I want to move toward, but I'm scared. So that's where we need safety. So start with compassion to show you the way out, and then we need safety to build the bridge for each step to lead you out. Gray, I go live every Sunday night at this time. Okay, how do I get compassion and safety? Beautiful. So, first question, how do I get compassion? Start with being able to be gentle with yourself. So, we don't want any negative self talk. We don't want to be like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I screwed that up. Oh, I'm such a loser. No negative self talk. We need to be gentle. You need to talk to yourself the way you would talk to a kid. Hopefully you would talk to a kid nicely and with compassion. And you need to, yeah, so this is the catch. The negative, so Gray says, oh boy, that's my downfall, like the negative self-talk, right? This is how we stay stuck. The negative self-talk keeps us stuck. So my secret for this is that I talk to my inner child. I talk to the 5-year-old version of me who really thought that things were going to be different, back when I was stuck. And I just say, hey, what do you need? Are you okay? And then, 5-year-old me was like, I want Oreos. And I'm like, oh, because you're upset. You're upset, so you want Oreos. And she'd be like, yeah, I'm upset. I'm like, okay, what are you upset about? Right? Because the reason why we speak negatively to ourselves is because we're judging ourselves, right? We're just constantly assessing that, oh, what I'm doing is not good enough, right? And that's just shame. So you can move through that by talking to your inner child and just accepting that there's a version of you in there who's very little and scared and is doing, his best job to help you out. And he's like, look, I'm helping. I'm keeping you stuck. That keeps you safe, right? So, like, you have to stop being mad about it. Once we stop being mad that we're stuck and we can just accept it, right? Gentleness and then acceptance leads to that compassion. And then the next piece for safety, how do we get safety? Gray says, oh, right, my therapist says it's from a lifetime of shame. Yeah. So I call it a shame identity that you're stuck in, but it's not you who's stuck in it, Gray. It's your little self, your little boy who lives inside you, who was like 5 years old when he was like, oh, so I'm not good enough. Oh, okay. So that's the lesson. Somebody taught you when you were really little that you're not good enough. And you've just been living from that shame all this time. And that shame creates an identity of the worthless person. And the worthless person is always going to stay stuck because they don't deserve better. They don't deserve to get out. They don't deserve to have a better life. So every attempt you make to change that is going to keep bumping up against this little self inside of you that's like, no, 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 we can't go be an Egyptologist. We're the worthless person. And Grace says, logically I understand, but I don't know how to move on from it. Yeah. So this is how, Gray, is you go to that little boy inside you and you say, oh, so you don't think you're good enough? And you just listen and you just meet him with acceptance and gentleness and stop being mad at him that he doesn't feel good enough and mad at him for all the ways he's holding you back in your life, and just say, okay, I'm here. I'm listening. Sorry it took me so long to get back to you. I was busy. I didn't actually know you were in here this whole time. And, I'm here now. Like, I want to know, like, tell me what you're scared of. Tell me how you're keeping me safe here, because I know that your intention is good. I know you're trying to help me. So just what are we afraid is going to happen if we feel good enough, right? And Anthony says you have a very calming voice. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I used to be a professional nanny in addition to a historian, and I had to put a lot of babies to sleep. I also have a channel where I read stories to the internet. So far, I've done Winnie the Pooh and Charlotte's Web, and that's on my other channel. So, Gray, if you need to calm down and create safety, you can let me read you a story. I'll see if I can I put it in the chat what the oh, I don't even know how to hit my chat button. It's HELMI and then JUNG is my channel for story time. If you want a story. Or maybe your little self wants a story and your little self is too scared. And maybe a bedtime story would help him to feel safer. Gentleness, compassion, acceptance. Like, this is the way that we start to meet ourselves where we are instead of wishing we could be somewhere else. Does that make sense? Anthony says Charlotte's Web, great book. Yeah. I know I'm almost near the end. I'm on chapter like 19 or something, and I know Charlotte's going to die. Spoiler alert. And I'm going to cry reading it, and I have to read it to the whole internet, so I'm not looking forward to that, but it is such a good book. Yeah, so Gray, that's the way through. If you understand it intellectually, and anybody listening, later, like, oh, it's part of me that doesn't feel worthy. And you just picture yourself being 5 years old and you're like, baby, come here, give me a hug. Why do you think you're not good enough? Who told you that? Who taught you that you're not good enough? You know? Where did you come up? This is not you. Somebody else taught you that. I know they did. Did you know you didn't deserve that? Did you know that you've always been good enough? And they might say no. And then it's like, okay. So now we have a conversation going, right? Now we can start to see. Gray says, you found me at an amazing time. Okay, good. Well, that's the universe, Gray. The universe always gets its own way. So if you found me and you're not a woman struggling with emotional eating, then yeah. So Gray says, teachers taught me that. No friends, bullies. Yeah. So you had a lot of different angles that's not one person, right? That's being reinforced across the board. And that messaging to a little kid is incredibly powerful, right? It's creating this identity. So just think of your 5-year-old self, 7-year-old self, as being like frozen in time. And he's just stuck in this position of, I'm the worthless person, I'm the worthless person, I'm the worthless person, I'm the worthless person. And he just can't get out because he's frozen in time, because to him it's still the year it was when you were 5. So we can't ask them to come into our present day and see us. We have to go to them in whatever year it was when you were 5 and sit down next to them as they're frozen like this and just be with them and just give them that acceptance. I accept you. I know that you're good enough, right? And maybe you don't feel like you're good enough, Gray, but if you were talking to a 5-year-old, you're not going to tell a 5-year-old that they're worthless, right? So yeah, Gray, of course you still feel like that because part of you is frozen in that identity. Part of you is stuck in that reality. So, and that's because our identities dictate our beliefs, and our beliefs dictate our thoughts. Our thoughts dictate our emotions, and our emotions dictate our behavior. And our behavior dictates our reality. So if you want a different reality, work, right, then you have to go figure out what identity. I mean, you already figured it out, right? You already know it's shame. You already know it's the worthless person. So now that you know that, that's so powerful. You can go to that little kid and be like, hey, bud, I see you now. I understand. I'm here. I'm listening. Do you know what I mean? Gray is putting emojis. Is that the head mind blown emoji? Did I just blow your mind, Gray? Well, I have that effect sometimes. Yeah, and so that's true for all of us, right? All of us are adults running around until we do this work, until we do this healing. We're all grown-ups running around really just feeling the same way we did when we were 5, trying to find a way to feel better and not being able to figure it out. So, Gray says this makes me want to cry literally. Oh, Gray. Yeah. Gentleness. Yeah. Acceptance. It's okay. It's okay to be right where you are. You haven't done anything wrong. Nothing. You haven't done anything wrong. You're just doing your best. And that's okay. We can accept that. That's amazing. And we can be grateful to that little kid that's frozen in that identity because he got it. He got you to here, right? And maybe now you can take over. Maybe now you can give him some support so he can learn that this actually isn't a place he needs to stay stuck. Grace says you blew my mind, girl. I could replay this daily. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna put the recording up so you can replay it whenever you want, Gray. This is tailored to you. Anthony's not saying much, so this ended up being tailored to you. Whoever's talking in my chat is the one who gets the attention. So yeah, that's if you're wondering how you get your compassion, that's how. Does that answer that question? Of course. Yeah, Grace says, "Oh my God, maybe I could take over now." Yeah, because he's just a scared little kid driving the bus, being like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to drive, but I'm in charge somehow, and we're being worthless, and this is all I know how to do. And then you can be like, you know what, bud, I'm actually the grown up and I know how to drive and you should be in the back in your car seat. You know, we should buckle you in. You shouldn't be having to make these decisions. You're stressed out, right? You can rest now. You can rest now. I'm the grown up. I'm here. You know, I'm going to help you out of that worthless identity. You don't deserve that. You never deserve that. And I'm going to support you. Anthony says, didn't want to interrupt the healing. Oh, Anthony, you're so sweet. Thank you. Grace says, for sure, you are better than my therapist. Well, I'm very proudly not a therapist, Gray, for this exact reason that a therapist has all these rules and they have to stay on this side of it and they can't be bringing their own experience into things. And my healing is that I am giving that of myself to somebody, and that's not the way that a therapist is going to do it. I do it right. A therapist is like, I'm here and you're here, and I'm like, no, we're both right here. And I'm just sitting right beside you, and we're just going to hold hands and go through it together, you know. Grace says, take my money. Oh man, see, this is why I do this work. And I have clients and I have a website and because because people don't understand how quickly you can heal this. People think, "Oh, it takes all these years to understand." And no, man, look at how much healing Gray just got in a on a YouTube live in like 45 minutes, right? Like this healing can happen really quickly once you understand and once you find a way to connect with it. And that's what I'm good at, is helping people to connect with it. So I hope this was helpful, Mr. Gray, and thank you so much to Anthony for sticking around and and being supportive. And now accidentally both of you are moderators. And Anthony, thank you very much for volunteering. Okay, I'm quite touched that you did that. That's very generous. And I love the idea of you being my digital bodyguard. Okay, so thank you so much, Gray. And I'm here next week, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Nova Scotia time, every Sunday night. If you have questions, if you want to tell us how it went, if you need support, if you want to just tell us that you feel better or whatever, like, this is the work we're all trying to do. Okay? And you deserve to be free, Gray. The world needs you. Okay. Good night, Anthony. Thank you so much, Gray. I will be back next week. And I hope you guys have a great week. Okay. Bye.